This is my WWE Bragging Rights 2010 pay-per-view prediction. Pay-per-view is live tonight, exclusively on pay-per-view. And as far as the build for this pay-per-view, I gotta say, considering even though they only had 3 weeks of build for this event, it actually has been booked pretty solid, I would say. The 7-on-7 match has been booked very good. The Undertaker and Kane match, the Barrett alive match. Now, even though the match is probably not going to be that good, I gotta say, the Undertaker and Kane feud, even though it's pretty much a rehash of stuff we've seen 13 years ago, they've been booking that pretty good as well. And the Wade Barrett and Randy Orton match might be a decent match. Just hopefully they don't give the title to Wade Barrett, just because I don't think he's ready to have the title at this point in his career. Dolph Ziggler and Bryan getting at it pretty much this past week on Monday Night Raw. That should be a very good match. I didn't really like Dolph Ziggler at first, but I gotta say over pretty much this year and about for the last year, he's pretty much improved a whole lot, and I've kind of grown on him. I used to can't stand him at all. Now I don't mind him at all, and he's actually pretty good. I gotta say he's improved a whole lot over the past year. And Bryan, he's one of those guys that pretty much can put a good match on with anyone, so it should be a fun little match with them two. And the women's match with Natalya and Layla, no one really cares about that other than glad to see in 2 back-to-back pay-per-views they're actually showcasing Natalya. That's the only good thing so far with the women's division right now is, now they're finally, instead of her just being with the Hart Dynasty, they're actually having her go out there and wrestle. So that's the good thing right there. So as far as this event, I gotta say compared to the last event, they've definitely built this up pretty good. I gotta say, considering you only got 3 weeks, going into Hell in the Cell, I really could care less about, and I wasn't really looking forward to it. This event, I'm not saying it's one of those events like I'm thinking WWE is like, oh, I need to go out my way and purchase it. No, I will not go out my way and purchase this event just because I don't think it's worth it. Now, the one thing I have a huge problem with this pay-per-view is not really the card, because I think the card for the event isn't that bad. I think it might be actually an okay pay-per-view from WWE, even though it's kind of an event they could deal without. Considering, next month you got Survivor Series, and the 7-on-7 match just takes away from Survivor Series. That's something you should, do at Survivor Series, not do it right before Survivor Series. And if you wanted to do this whole bragging rights thing, it would make a little more sense to do it, kind of like maybe April or May. Do it something like that if you want to keep this pay-per-view, because doing it right before Survivor Series just takes away from the filling up Survivor Series, because you already did, pretty much a Survivor Series type match at, SummerSlam when they did the John Cena Team WWE versus Nexus. Now you got Team Raw versus Team SmackDown here, so it just takes away from the filling of Survivor Series, which you really haven't had that, feel of what the Survivor Series should be in a long, long time anyway. But it really takes away from it when you do pretty much something and you book the 7-on-7 match pretty good. And considering if they didn't have this event, say if this was the match they had at Survivor Series, they would even been able to build it up even more, having more time to even build it up, and obviously having probably a few other bigger stars in it if it was a big event like Survivor Series. So that's the one problem I have with the event, but the card-wise, I don't think it's going to be a bad event. First matchup will be Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler. You got the United States Champion Bryan versus the Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler. Now this is a non-title match. This should be a pretty fun match. It's probably going to be a good way to start the pay-per-view off. Like I said earlier, used to can't stand Dolph Ziggler. Now I've kind of grown on him. He's kind of grown on to me. And Bryan, I'm a huge fan of him. So this should be a fun match right here. Don't know if this will be a great match, but it should be a fun little match and probably be a good way to start the pay-per-view. And with this, I'm saying Bryan will win this match. Just because going into this pay-per-view, I would say they kind of booked him pretty weak, so I think he needs this victory right here. And what they'll do with Dolph Ziggler, they'll probably do Vicky Guerrero getting involved, where she either intentionally or accidentally costs him the match here, so it will not really hurt him in that way with the booking of it. If he loses this match, I think Bryan does need the victory more than Dolph Ziggler going into this pay-per-view. Then the next matchup will be Natalya versus Layla for the Divas title. Now, I would love to see Natalya become the Divas champion. I just don't see it happening. I see them keeping the titles on, the co-champions, Layla and Michelle McCool, and I see Layla winning this match. probably a match no one really even cares about. Like I said, the only thing I kind of care about this, or even like about the Divas division right now, is they're finally starting to showcase Natalya and 2 back-to-back pay-per-views. Love to see her become the Divas champion, them finally do something with her right, but I just do not see it happening. Layla will retain the Divas champion for her and Michelle McCool. Then the next matchup will be the Buried Alive match, Undertaker versus Kane, for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, like I said, this match, as far as the quality of the match, I'm not really thinking this is going to be a good match. You know, Hell in a Cell, they had a pretty weak Hell in a Cell match. The match at Night of Champions wasn't that great. And going into this, you know, Undertaker doesn't win this match, he's going to lose to Kane three events in a row. So right there, I just cannot see Undertaker losing 3 events in a row. So I'm thinking Undertaker is going to win this match and become the World Heavyweight Champion. But they could go a route where he loses this match, and then they, you know, with the whole angle of him getting buried, and that's the way the match ends, they could do something where it could lead something to Undertaker at Survivor Series. But I do see Undertaker winning this match. Probably match-wise not going to be that good, but the storytelling could be pretty good in this match, and at least the storyline of it and the storytelling and leading into it, you're at least a little intrigued about it, but it's kind of like stuff, well, this is stuff we saw back in 97, 98. It's kind of rehash of old stuff. But they at least booked going into it like you have a little intrigue seeing it, but the quality of the match is probably not going to be that good at all. Like I said, I see Undertaker winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Might be a decent match. The Buried Alive stipulation is not something we see that often, so maybe they'll try to pull something out of here and do something pretty good with each other. But I just see it at best maybe, you know, watchable match. Nothing really that good at all. Then the next matchup will be for the WWE Championship. This is Wade Barrett with John Cena in his corner versus Randy Orton. And this match could be pretty good. Wade Barrett had a very good match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view with John Cena. Probably one of his best outings so far, and John Cena really made him look pretty good in that match. Him and Orton might work pretty good. Obviously, John Cena is going to play a big role in this match now. I just do not see Wade Barrett becoming champion. It's way too early for him to become champion. So I see them doing something where, you know, John Cena turns on him in this match, costing Wade Barrett the match. Wade Barrett's about to win the championship, then Cena gets involved and Orton retains the title. And then this will probably lead to something with, you know, the Nexus, with Wade Barrett being the captain and John Cena being the captain of our team at Survivor Series on a 5-on-5 match there. At least that's what I see happening right there. I just do not see Wade Barrett becoming champion at this moment right now. It's just way too early in his career, and I don't think it'd be a smart move to have him become champion. And if he did become champion, the one thing I could possibly see is maybe The Miz cashing it in, but Miz will only cash in on this pay-per-view if Wade Barrett wins, because that could be a thing they do where Wade Barrett, you know, wins the championship, then, you know, he's celebrating that he won the championship, and then Miz cashes in. That's something they could do right there, because then they wouldn't have to have Wade Barrett be a champion and just have to do something like that. But like I said, I do not see Wade Barrett becoming champion. I see Orton retaining. Then you got the 7-on-7 match with Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, with the captain of Team Raw is The Miz, and Team Raw is consisting of The Miz, Sheamus, R-Truth, John Morrison, CM Punk, Ezekiel Jackson, and Santino Marella versus Team SmackDown, which the Team SmackDown captain is Big Show. Team SmackDown consisting of Big Show, Edge, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, Jack Swagger, Alberto Del Rio, and Tyler Rex. Yeah, Tyler Rex is actually main eventing a pay-per-view here in this match, which that was a bad booking decision to have Tyler Rex in this match instead of Caval, even though they pretty much would have booked both of them pretty much probably like jobbers in this match, because I'm pretty sure Tyler Rex would be one of the first people to get eliminated in this match. It would have been better to have Caval in this match instead of Tyler Rex, because, I mean, how many people even realize Tyler Rex is probably even still with the company before they even threw him in this match? And I guess they're starting to try to do something with him on SmackDown at this moment. And you got some pretty good talent on both teams. You do got some weak members on there, like Team Raw. You got Santino Marella and Ezekiel Jackson. But pretty much the rest of the team isn't bad. I mean, you got The Miz, Sheamus, R-Truth, John Morrison, and CM Punk. And even Team SmackDown, you got some good talent on there. Big Show, I'm not the hugest fan of him, but I understand why he's on the team of SmackDown and being the captain. Edge is on there, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, and Jack Swagger. Alberto Del Rio, I haven't really bought into the whole, Alberto Del Rio. He just doesn't seem like anyone I'm interested in. He seems like a talent that's pretty much going to be in the next 6 months or a year. No one's really even to care about, and he's pretty much not going to be doing much. But WWE seems to be pretty much trying to book him and push him as strong as possible right now. But I haven't seen anything. He's not really appealing to me. But you got some good talent in here, so depending on how this match is booked, this could be a very good, entertaining match. Just like I said, the one thing that kind of hurts this match is not really hurting the match, but the one thing that kind of hurts this is, next month you got Survivor Series, and this match right here kind of takes away from the feeling of, the traditional Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination match that you're going to have at Survivor Series. And they've booked this, considering you only had 3 weeks for this pay-per-view, and more or less this is a pay-per-view in WWE's eyes. They kind of treat kind of like a throwaway pay-per-view, but not a complete throwaway pay-per-view because they've actually kind of booked this pretty good. So right there, it's going to be this pay-per-view right here, since they've had 2 pay-per-views this month. This is the second pay-per-view they had this month, and last night they just had Brock Lesnar's UFC fight. So WWE's buy rates for this pay-per-view are probably going to be pretty low just because it's another pay-per-view in the same month that they're trying to do, and it's the night right after Lesnar's UFC fight, which right there WWE's going to lose a lot of buy rates just for that right there. So it's kind of like, why does WWE need to do this pay-per-view? Why couldn't they just wait to do something like this at Survivor Series, especially the 7-on-7 match? Obviously, at Survivor Series, it'd be 5-on-5, but that's the only thing that kind of takes away from this match a little bit, where, next month it's going to be kind of hurt. Like, we've kind of already seen this before. Why we need to see it yet again? That's the feeling I have right here. But the match of it should be pretty good because you got some good talent in there. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio, they work very good. The Miz and Sheamus on Team Raw, I see them being the final 2 surviving members. I see them not getting eliminated, and the Miz and Sheamus will be the 2 that will not get pinned in this match, and they'll be the surviving members of their team just because the Miz has the Money in the Bank right now, and Sheamus, they're booking him pretty strong still, and he's kind of like the next in line contender for the WWE Championship out of, Wade Barrett and probably maybe John Cena, and they got Sheamus, they're booking him pretty strong, so right there I see Sheamus and The Miz being the surviving members on their team, and like I said, depending on the booking of this match, could be pretty good. And as far as the pay-per-view, it could be a decent pay-per-view. I don't think it's going to be a great pay-per-view, but I don't think it's going to be a bad pay-per-view because going into this pay-per-view, I at least have a little feeling that maybe it could be a okay pay-per-view, and I'm kind of a little interested in it. The 7-on-7 match could be good. Just the one thing, like I said, keep on saying, having this pay-per-view right before Survivor Series is some idiotic decision-making right there from WWE. The Barrett Alive match could be watchable. Wade Barrett and Orton could be decent. And the Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler could be a fun little opener match right there. And the women's match, I don't think anyone really cares about. And the elimination match, they'll probably give that a long time. I expect that probably go at least 30, possibly 40 minutes. It's going to be a pretty long match, I expect. And it could be pretty good. So this pay-per-view right here, we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a bad pay-per-view. I don't think it's going to be a great pay-per-view. It could be a decent, possibly could even be a good pay-per-view. So yeah, that's it for my WWE Bragging Rights 2010 pay-per-view predictions. Peace. So as far as this event, I gotta say, compared to the last event, they've definitely built this up pretty good. I gotta say, considering you only got 3 weeks, going into Hell in the Cell, I really could care less about it. I wasn't really looking forward to it. This event, I'm not saying it's one of those events like I'm thinking WWE is like, oh, I need to go out my way and purchase it. No, I will not go out my way and purchase this event just because I don't think it's worth it now. I say the Undertaker and Kane feud, even though it's pretty much a rehash of stuff we've seen 13 years ago, they've been booking that pretty good as well. And the Wade Barrett and Randy Orton match might be a decent match. Just hopefully they don't give the title to Wade Barrett just because I don't think he's ready to have the title at this point in his career. Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan getting at it pretty much this past week on Monday Night Raw. that should be a very good. This is my WWE Bragging Rights 2010 pay-per-view prediction. Pay-per-view is live tonight, exclusively on pay-per-view. And as far as the build for this pay-per-view, I gotta say, considering even though they only had 3 weeks of build for this event, it actually has been booked pretty solid, I would say. The 7-on-7 match has been booked very good. The Undertaker and Kane match, the Barrett alive match. Now, even though the match is probably not going to be that good, and the women's match with Natalya and Layla, no one really cares about that other than glad to see in 2 back-to-back pay-per-views they're actually showcasing Natalya. That's the only good thing so far with the women's division right now is, now they're finally, instead of her just being with the Hart Dynasty, they're actually having her go out there and wrestle. So that's the good thing right there. Match, I didn't really like Dolph Ziggler at first, but I gotta say over pretty much this year and for the last year, he's pretty much improved a whole lot, and I've kind of grown on him. I used to can't stand him at all. Now I don't mind him at all, and he's actually pretty good. I gotta say he's improved a whole lot over the past year. And Daniel Bryan, he's one of those guys that pretty much can put a good match on with anyone, so it should be a fun little match with them two.